Friends, vaccine passports will change your life if we allow them, and not for the better. From the Western Journal's op-ed page, quote, "Has there ever been a time in history when we have trusted technology companies less than we do today, both with our information and to do the right thing? A vaccine passport, pure and simple, is the state working with powerful technology companies to determine whether you will have the documentation to fit into a certain class of people. That class of people is those who have been fully vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus," unquote. Now, why on earth would we trust these companies with any personal information, let alone health information, in order to be allowed to participate fully in our society? Look, folks, these passports will be used to deny citizens participation in constitutionally protected activities such as attending a religious service or a public demonstration because they refuse to obtain or present a vaccine passport, and that is a showstopper in this country, or it used to be. Vaccine passports could be used to deny access to schools, jobs, and even potentially credit and the banking system. China's social credit system already exists and excludes those deemed not socially acceptable by the system from banking, doing things like getting an Uber, canceling your credit cards, denying you health care, denying you entry into good schools, and the list goes on and on. No, folks, this is not a conspiracy theory. Dr. Rich Schweier writes, quote, "Do you love freedom? Do you love liberty? Do you love owning property? Do you love your privacy? Do you love being able to speak freely? Do you love going to the synagogue or to church? Do you love medical freedom? And do you love being able to associate with whomever you choose? Do you love our Constitution and our God-given freedoms explicitly spelled out in the first 10 unalienable amendments in our Bill of Rights? We're about to lose all those freedoms and far more. George Orwell wrote 1984 in 1949, and 72 years later, here we are living his dystopian tale, and patriotic, conservative, and knowledgeable Americans like me and Dr. Schweier are distraught that the majority of American citizens are docile and acquiescent. That same majority of Americans and the world, they bought the fake fear. They went along with the unnecessary lockdowns. They stayed in their homes. They donned their masks, which they're still wearing, sometimes even two, and fell for the lies, Schweier said. He continued, China's plan for a social credit system is much like our financial credit system. But this system is about analyzing your character and trustworthiness toward the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP. It's an idea straight out of Orwell's 1984. The original Chinese proposal for the system, titled Planning Outline for the Construction of a Social Credit System, unquote, is ungodly control. Unfortunately, the second half of the paper is in Chinese, with the point being every Chinese citizen must be good little communists, or else there are consequences. Here's just one paragraph from this evil and obnoxious system. Quote, "Accelerating the construction of a social credit system is an important basis for comprehensively implementing the scientific development view and building a harmonious socialist society. It is an important method perfect to perfect the socialist market economy, accelerating and innovating social governance, and it has an important significance for strengthening the sincerity consciousness of the members of society, forging a desirable credit environment, raising the overall competitiveness of the country, and stimulating the development of society and the progress of civilization," close quote. But Dr. Schweier, a retired and decorated U.S. Army veteran, isn't the only person talking about these facts. Schweier, along with many others, are citing longtime Democrat and feminist Naomi Wolf, who talks about the CCP's social credit system coming to America via vaccine passports. She believes Social credit systems are part of the passport plans. All three branches of our government are held today by hardcore democratic socialist folks. They are extremely fond of Marx and Engels. Their followers immigrated to America in 1848 after the failure of socialism in Europe, and they've worked assiduously to change America into a communist state. One being the state where democratic socialism closely resembles the massive citizen control in the CCP. In America, the parasite elements of the ruling elite want total control of all citizens, and the entire plan was fomented and engineered via the pandemic of COVID-19. Mainland China's social credit system is the most extensive government program of surveillance the world has ever seen, one that should caution not only Hong Kong, but also America and the West against further intrusions on privacy. But those in charge of our government today are thrilled with the constant surveillance and wish to implement China's policies as quickly as possible. A Wall Street Journal article estimated that 10% of East Germans were Stasi spies, but that's nothing compared to China's oversight on their people. In 2020, an additional 600 million cameras were installed in China, one for every 2 citizens. Through facial recognition software, Beijing will be able to identify everyone within 3 seconds of anything happening. Chinese citizens do not own their lives. Their government, run by Xi Jinping, knows their every move and monitors people they believe may go against the ideological beliefs of the CCP. In Taiwan, the people tear down the hated spy cameras, longing to keep their freedom from the mainland. Falun Gong members and dissident Christians are closely watched and tracked, and this is where the social credit system steps in. The Muslim Uyghurs are recognized as native to the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region in northwest China, and their population has felt the heavy hand of Xi Jinping. In 2017, China began a massive political re-education program with more than 1 million Uyghurs from all walks of life taken into 85 identified detention camps in Xinjiang. The government nips any democracy movement in the bud and knows your every move via their social credit system. Chinese citizens are ranked via merits and demerits regarding their behavior towards their masters. Should they too often criticize their leaders, put their garbage in the wrong bin, or go against the rules of their masters, they'll incur sanctions to discourage their improper and bad behavior. The totalitarian state controls them completely. They're denied good jobs, internet speeds are cut, they're kept out of prestigious schools, and their pets can't even be taken from them. Thus, the citizenry must be submissive to the state, or they will pay dearly, and that can mean imprisonment, close quote. Doesn't all this sound familiar? We are seeing, with this continued use of unnecessary pandemic emergency orders, entire populations being subjected to a loss of liberty, even without these vaccine passports. We witnessed a pastor put on his knees and arrested in Canada in recent days for, quote, inciting, unquote, his congregation to worship, for goodness sakes. It is time to face the reality of this disgusting attempt to transition America and the West to tyranny over the masses and take action. That's why I am joining with other freedom-loving Americans to tell America's leadership we won't put up with this and advocate for legislation prohibiting the use of vaccine passports by government and business entities. If you want to help, you'll be able to go to the following website, and it is stopvaxpassports.org. Stopvaxpassports.org. Go there, you can sign the petition, you can put your name on the letter, and add your voice to send America's leadership a message. Do it today.